Chinese pot, Chinese pot, Chinese pot. That's the way to learn Chinese. Chinese pot, Chinese pot, Chinese pot. That's the way to learn Chinese.
Hi everyone, welcome to Chinese Pod. This is Fiona.
And this is Gulam.
And today we're going to be talking about one of my latest purchases, and that is a bread maker.
Okay, so this is a newbie lesson about making bread with a bread maker. Okay, so why did you buy a bread maker, Fiona?
Well, I just love fresh bread. There's nothing better than waking up in the morning to some fresh bread. Bread in Mandarin is 面包.
Okay, so that's M-I-A-N fourth tone, B-A-O first tone.
That's right. And even if you're not into bread or into bread makers, today's lesson will have loads of useful phrases, especially when you're starting on Mandarin. So let's listen to the dialogue 3 times. 对话第一遍。我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊。
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。第二遍。我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊。
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。第三遍。我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊。
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。Now that we've listened to the dialogue, let's move on to the translations. 我买了一台制面包机。
I've bought a bread machine.
我买了一台制面包机。
I've bought a bread machine.
我买了一台制面包机，是做面包的机器吗？
Is it the machine that makes bread?
是做面包的机器吗？
Is it that thing that makes bread?
是做面包的机器吗？是啊。
Yeah.
是啊。
Yeah.
是啊，真有意思。快告诉我怎么做。
That's really interesting. Quickly tell me how you use it.
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
Awesome. Quick, tell me how to use it.
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。没问题。
No problem.
没问题。
Of course.
Now that we've done the translations, let's move on to the breakdown. So first things first, let's start with the first line of today's dialogue, and that is 我买了一台制面包機。
Okay, so we've bought a bread machine, so the verb is to buy. What is that?
The verb to buy is 买。买。
Okay, M-A-I third tone.
And this is an easy mistake to make, guys, when you've started out learning Mandarin, because this third tone here is very important, because if you say 买, M-A-I fourth tone, it becomes to sell.
Yeah, so you could just you could substitute the verb to sell in this sentence, and it would still make perfect sense. Fee, do you have any tips to help us remember the difference between 买 and 卖?
Of course. So think about it. If you want to sell something, you want to do it quickly and assertively, right? So you want to say 买, right? But if you're buying something, you probably want to think about it. Imagine yourself stood in an aisle, and your head's kind of bobbing around, looking at different things on the aisle, and you're going, 买.
Okay, so this is a good tip to know. You kind of relate a physical action with the tone on the word. So third tone for us kind of is a slow down, up tone. So you can imagine your head going down, up as you're thinking.
Okay, guys, so what is 买?
To buy.
And how about 卖?
To sell.
That's right. Okay, so let's move on to one of the most important machines in today's lesson, and my favorite gadget at the moment, and that is 制面包机.
Okay, so there are 4 characters here. Can we break it down a bit easier?
Of course, so let's break down this noun. 制 is to make, 面包, as we discussed before, is bread, and 机 is machine, so the make bread machine, the bread maker.
Okay, and before we move on, the measure word for this machine is...
台.
Okay, so T-A-I second tone.
So 台 is a measure word that can be used for most machine items. There are, of course, other usages of this word 台, this measure word, but in this case, and for most machinery, this is the measure word you need. So 台.
Okay, let's move on to the second sentence.
So the second sentence, the friend is like, oh, is that the machine that makes bread?
Okay, so the construction here is slightly different to English. In English and many other languages, including Chinese, it's usually subject, verb, object,
Correct.
SVO. But in Chinese, they often like to just drop the subject. So this is why the sentence starts with the verb 是.
Yes, in this case, the subject is omitted, right? Because it's clear that they're asking about the bread maker, right? So if this was a full sentence, it would be 制面包机是做面包的机器吗? So you're saying the bread maker is the machine that makes bread? So here, the make verb is slightly different, and that is 做.
做, so Z-U-O, fourth tone, and that literally means to make.
A lot of students of Chinese Pod tell us while they love to speak and listen to Mandarin, they are a bit intimidated to learn how to read and write in it because of the complexity of Chinese characters. That's why we created the 66 Characters series. Try it and see for yourself.
And this usually involves like tasks that actually involve, doing something, getting your hands dirty, or a laborious task, right? And when we're doing homework, it's pretty laborious, so you would say 做功课.
Any other uses of the word 做?
Sure. Now that we're on the topic of baking, how about baking a cake, right? You would say 做蛋糕, right? I'm making a cake.
Okay, good to know. And then in this sentence, we see the actual word for machine.
And what it means by actual verb is the correct noun for machinery, and that is 机器.
Okay, so J-I first tone, Q-I fourth tone.
So if you're wondering how do I distinguish when I should use 机器 and just 机器, like I said, is the proper noun for machinery. But if you want to say something machine, you would only use the word 机. And let me give you an example. So here, 做面包 or 制面包, right? The making of bread. How about taking photos, right? Taking photos is 照相. So a camera is 照相机.
Okay, any other words with the 机 at the end of it?
Sure. How about a washing machine, right? 洗衣机.
So, wash, clothes, machine. How about a cell phone?
手机.
Hand machine.
Yeah, exactly, or a machine that you use in your hand. Okay, so she confirms by saying, yes, that's right, that's a bread maker. And he says, 真有意思.
Okay, so this 真 first tone is just an intensifier, which means really. And then an important phrase, 有意思.
真有意思.
Okay, so 有意思. And then in front of it, you can put 真, which means really, or could you put any other intensifiers in front of it?
Sure, so if you want to say this is so interesting, you can say 很有意思. Do go check out the expansion sentences in the expansion tab, and for more examples of how to use this 有意思.
Okay, and then she says, quick, tell me how to use it.
快 is quick, and 告诉 is to tell.
Okay, so quick, tell me how to use 快告诉我.
Yeah, so 快告诉我怎么做 how to make it or how to do it.
Okay, so in this dialogue, we have two verbs which mean to make. We have 制, which is Z-H-I fourth tone, and 做, Z-U-O fourth tone. What is the difference?
Good question, Gwilym. So the difference between 制 and 做 are quite slight. Both mean to make or to do, but 制 most often you'll see in front of more machines, for example, things that are more kind of industrial, and 做 are more things that you would do, right? So, like I said, doing homework. 做功课.
Okay, so at this level, you're mostly going to just come across 做, but every now and then you'll see maybe a non-man-made thing or a machine-made thing, and you'd use 制.
Yeah, so when you see it, you'll know that it means to make.
So after he says, how interesting, tell me how to use it, what does she say?
Well, she's a good friend, so she says, no problem. 没问题.
没问题 is just literally no problem.
It's exactly the same as the English, so 没问题. Gwilym, can I borrow your computer later?
没问题.
Sure, okay, guys. So, 没问题, super high use and super useful. Now that we've discussed the language, let's listen to the dialogue 3 more times. 对话第一遍。我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊，
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。第2遍，
我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊。
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。
第3遍，
我买了一台制面包机。
是做面包的机器吗？
是啊。
真有意思，快告诉我怎么做。
没问题。
Right, Fee, so after a few days of owning it, what do you think? Is it worth buying a bread machine?
Totally worth it, guys.
Okay, and have you made any interesting types of breads?
Oh, I've been making all sorts of types of breads. I've been making like olive loaves, things with seeds in it, things with raisins in it. I've been having so much fun.
Right, there's not much space in my kitchen for a bread machine. Do people have bread machines in Asia? Is it a kind of common thing to buy these days?
Well, it's not a common thing. It's not like a household item. But recently, like these kind of like soy milk makers, bread machines have become really, really popular because there have been a couple of quite serious food safety scandals. So people are kind of like, they want to do things by hand, but, you know, most people don't have the time. So these items have become really desirable all of a sudden.
真有意思.
Yeah, it is 很有意思. It's very interesting. Okay, guys, we hope you guys found this lesson interesting, and we'll see you guys soon.
再见.
As usual, ChinesePod provides an extensive selection of learning materials for this lesson on its website, www.chinesepod.com. You can access this lesson directly with the lesson number 2615. So just go to www.chinesepod.com/2615 and you will find a transcript, vocabulary, and much more. The link again, www.chinesepod.com/2615.